What is up, everybody? Welcome into episode 3 of the San Antonio Brahmas Bullpen. As we teased in episode 2, we have podcast spring football royalty here. This is Queen RC. Everybody, we are not worthy. RC is here.
Woo, so I'm so excited.
We're going to let her talk this whole episode, but real quick.
My.
I know, right? Player cuts. Player cuts are happening. Unfortunately, some people get cut, some people don't. At the beginning of the week, we were up to 72 players. We're now down to 65 players for the San Antonio Brahmas. We got to be down to 51 by Thursday. Real quick, Darius James was cut, which is crazy because Darius James played for Auburn. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, scored a .98 out of a possible 1.0. So we were thinking this guy was going to be an anchor for our O-line. He got cut, which means the rest of our O-line must be really good. So that's the definite positive.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, for sure. Linebacker Jordan Anthony got cut. He was also a talented recruit, .95 on the 24/7. Sorry if I missed that, everybody. We're using the 24/7 high school composite for these players until we get some data and some film on there. So we're kind of working off their numbers. We also lost Marco Santos Silva, tight end, but that's not really surprising, especially with DeAndre Goolsby and his XFL experience. He's probably going to be our tight end. Chase Pine, linebacker out of Pittsburgh. He scored a .86, 3-star recruit. And then another guy that's pretty surprising, and I'm going to butcher the name. I'm sorry, Denzel. I apologize, dude. Denzel Chukwu. I've been practicing that for the last hour, and I knew I was still going to butcher it, out of UTEP. And then lastly, Ross got cut. Wide receiver Devin Ross. So with that, sorry guys. Hopefully y'all can get in on another team. We appreciate y'all supporting the San Antonio Brahmas and trying out for the team. We're going to leave it up to our coaches that they're making the best decision for the team and for everyone else. So no more sad stuff. Sorry for the players that got cut. There's going to be some more coming. We'll mention those as we go through. We're going to interview RC Woods, co-host of the Smokin Gunz Podcast. That's right. We're not going to just talk Brahmas today. We're going to talk about the NAL, and we're going to talk a little bit about the San Antonio Gunslingers. We're also going to go down memory lane, the Command Post Podcast. I was a subscriber and a fan. We're going to talk about that. RC, you don't even know, RC. I'm not even joking. I listen to every episode of Command Post, and you guys were
really?
And then,
thank you.
We're going to end it out with RC talking to us about her new fan group and how the old fan group made it into the new fan group. Hoss, you got anything
combined
to add?
It.
Yeah,
I was just going to talk about the cuts. Do you know the numbers of those players? Because I know there was a dad that I was talking to, and his son is number 20. Was he one of the ones cut?
I don't have Ross's number, but I got the other four. So Darius James is 62. Jordan Anthony is number 34. Marcus Santos is number 85. Chase Pine is number 36. Denzel Chukwu was number 99. I don't have Ross's number. Haas, you were able to pull that up real quick while I was killing time? No?
No.
That guy? A little stack guy? Code Red?
Definitely
not happening. He was wide receiver, so I don't know. I don't know what if he might not even have been assigned a number. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't have it. He might have been on the previous round of cuts, and I took him off of my roster spreadsheet already, which is probably why I don't have it. But it was Devin Ross was his name, and he was pointed out by the XFL analyst that he was cut, and he's only listed as a wide receiver with no player number.
Okay.
So, well, hopefully your guy's still on it. Your guy's still on it.
I hope so. I haven't heard yet. And the thing is, if you know me, I know I do the mom to mom episodes, right? Where I interview. Don't
tell everybody yet.
Okay,
We're gonna tease that for later.
All right. Okay. Zip it. I zipped it.
Yeah. That's literally why you're here. That is literally why you're here. That's what we want to talk about the most. But we do want to talk about other things. So first of all, tell us about yourself. And why are you podcasting football, alternative football, and spring league football in general? What the heck is that all about, RC?
Okay, well, it's sort of a long story, but I'll try to make it short. So back in the day, which was like 2018, 2019, whenever the Commanders were coming out, right? Okay. My daughter at the time was attending Texas A&M in Corpus Christi. And she was studying sports management with a minor in marketing. And so trying to be a good mom, right? I would say, well, what can I do to help her when she does graduate? And so I saw on Facebook at the time that a new league was coming into San Antonio. They didn't even have a name. It was just like with the AAF, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I was liking some posts, and Warren reached out to me and said, hey, I've noticed you're pretty positive. Would you like to be the administrator on our page? And I was like, I guess, right? You know? Mm-hmm. So I was the administrator, and I would post and make positive comments. And then literally within a month, I would say, the president of the Commanders, which was Vic Gregovitz, contacted Warren and said, hey, we want to have a meeting with y'all at the Alamo Dome. And so Warren contacted me, and I was like, what? I don't even know what we're doing here, right? So we went to the Alamo Dome, and as soon as I walked in, they're like, hi, RC. And I'm like, how do they know me? You know? So apparently they were following us, right? And so there was Vic, and it was like the head of marketing and the head of ticket sales. And they wanted us to be the official fan club, right? Now at the time I guess we knew the name by that time because we were making jokes about going commando, right?
Oh, no.
Everybody knows what that is, right? I'm going to explain that. Okay. Yeah. And so they said at this meeting, you just can't say go commando. You can't do this. You can't do that, you know? And I was like, what the heck? We haven't even seen a player yet. And you're already telling us what we can't do, right? Yeah. So we said, no, we don't want to be the official fan club, but we want to have a good communication, right? And during that time, they were having tryouts or auditions for a podcast. And that was back with Game Day Media. And so I went in for the audition, and I told him, I'm like, do you have to know a lot about football? And he's like, nah, just wing it, right? And he's like, just talk about sports. And I'm from Chicago, so I'd love the Cubs. Oh, yeah. So for my audition,
you weren't born Texan, but got here as quick as you could. Right?
Yes, that's true.
There we go.
All right. There we go. I like.
She knows who Michael Jordan is, basically.
I know Michael Jordan. Yeah. I know the Bears, the Cubs. You know. So Blackhawks, big fan. I had 3 older brothers, so of course sports was big in my house. So I went. I guess they called me like 2 weeks later. 12 people had tried out, and so they're like, "Well, come to the Game Day Media, and we'll talk about it." Right. So we went, and that's the first time I met Leo. The first time I met Philip. And so our producer, and the producer said, we're going to go ahead and see how it goes. And they said, Philip, you're going to be the one in control. And then RC, you're going to be piggybacking off of him. And Leo, he's a little bit quiet, so he's going to do the interviews, right? So he did the first show. And I don't know how PG this is, but I didn't know crap about football, right?
It's YouTube. It's YouTube. I don't know what they're gonna say.
I didn't know much. Okay. Yeah. So after the show, the producer was like, "Wow, you really don't know football," and I was so embarrassed. So I told you, you know. So I went home and I told my husband, I was like, the producer says I don't know anything about football. And he's like, I told you, RC, you know. And then I was like, I'm just trying to be a good mom, you know. And he's like, stay in your lane, you know. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So the next show we had, I said, look, I don't want to come across like I'm faking it, that I know football. I said, but one thing I know I'm good at is being a good mom and being a good cheerleader. I said, so I'm going to start a special segment called Mom to Mom. And so I can interview the players' moms. And then that's how everyone can get to know the players, right? They loved it. And that's just kind of my niche. And so being with the Commanders, we had media passes, right? Again, I'm not really into football. I say that, but I'm learning to love it.
Here you are.
Yeah.
You're talking to us, knuckleheads.
I'm
that's
telling
for sure.
You. And so we had media passes, so we would go to the practice, right? And so the first practice, Moose Johnston was there, right? So being, here in San Antonio, showing hospitality, I brought donuts, right? And so they captured a picture of him eating a donut. And I said, donut, you wish you were here, right? Well, I thought it was cute.
Mom joke of the day, right?
That's right. Well, apparently the Commanders didn't like that. And so I was like sitting there, Leo and Philip, they're all excited. They're on the field at the practice and I'm bored to death. So I'm going to the stands. So I go to the stands and I start interviewing the people watching, and they're the dads, they're the moms, they're the fans, So I start interviewing them. Well, the next time I go to practice, I was told that I had to give up my media pass because I acted more like a fan than a media person. And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it, right? So then my whole, position on the podcast went totally different. So now I was able to cover tailgating because now without a media pass, I could drink. Now, Philip and Leo, they couldn't drink because technically they have media pass, right? So I was tailgating my butt off, right? And I posted a recipe for, that garbage can punch, like everyone just throws everything in, right? Back like in high school. Well, they didn't like that I posted that. So they called Warren saying I had to take it down. Warren's like, I can't tell her to take it down. To make a long story short, Vic Gregovitz, the president, contacted and said, you can keep it up, RC. It's no big deal. Well, when I told everybody what happened, they're like, F that. No way.
Yeah. So, that's a San Antonio response right there.
Exactly, right?
Right. We don't care.
You can't tell us what to do. So that's where it was all created RC Punch. And so everybody would contribute. So people were bringing bottles, people were bringing ice, people were bringing soaked fruit. One cup would get you wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so strong.
No, that's the tailgate experience we're bringing back, right?
Yes. And so with that, we're like, well, how can we give back to the community? And so we said, if you want a cup of the RC Punch, you had to bring something for the food bank. And so that's what we did. And so that's how we collected and sort of started that marriage with the food bank, which we're still doing right now for the Brahmas.
For sure.
To make a long story short, which is still long, my daughter graduated with her bachelor's.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've never met your daughter, but I know the struggles to graduate. So tell her congratulations from the bullpen. We're very happy that she achieved that.
Thank you. And then she went straight to her master's.
Oh, no.
She just,
hold your tongue, young fella. Let her finish.
She just graduated in December with her master's in sports management, events, and recreational sports, summa cum laude, 4.0.
Wow. Why are we talking to you? We should be talking to her on the podcast. What the heck, RC? Come here to tell me you had an ace in the hole? Come on.
Yeah, and she's only 24 and she's single. So, but I remember when I asked you, how old are you? So, but anyway, so that's awesome. That's how it all started. And really, I just love being a cheerleader. A lot of the players will call me Mama RC. And so it's so cool. It comes so easy to me because I'm just being the cheerleader and the mom to the team.
That is so cool. So in case y'all didn't put 1 and 2 together, the new fan group is what, RC? What are we calling the new fan group?
The Brahma Mamas.
Ooh, the Brahma Mamas. That's what I'm talking about. We were there. The Brahma Bullpen was there on the night we got to meet Coach Hines Ward. We saw you guys there with y'all's poster and y'all shirts already all made up. Yeah. So you guys had the Brahma Mamas set up, ready to go before even the Hines Ward coach meet was basically put together, and y'all were ready to go. So you were on top of it. We're definitely want to hear more about that. But before we go too far, you mentioned Philip and you mentioned Leo.
Yes, my podcast brothers.
Your podcast brothers, y'all are working on the Smokin Gunz. I'm going to do this. Hold on. No, this one. All right, producer, Smokin Gunz Podcast right here. Let's get it. We want to make sure to have some pictures up so people know where to find you guys. I listened to you guys at the command post. I've been binging Smokin Gunz Podcast over the last couple of weeks, which are all awesome. But by the way, I wasn't a huge NAL fan, but I'm definitely going to a game this year now. But I want you to tell me a little bit about your co-host. You know, Philip kind of keeps control of the things. Leo's there, ready to chime in, play off all the time. And then you're there like the glue, putting it all together. So now's your chance to tell us about Philip and Leo. And it doesn't have to be embarrassing, or it can be. It's totally up to you, RC. What do you want to tell us about your two co-hosts?
To be honest, I love them. I talk to them more often than I actually talk to my brothers. So that's why I do call them my podcast brothers. and I'm probably going to get teary-eyed because they really have supported me. I know I'm new to this. I'm new to football. And not once did they ever make me feel like my voice didn't matter. And I see that in the short time that I've been in sports, I see how difficult it is for women. And I see how difficult it is for my daughter to get into this field. It's a male dominated field. You have to know certain people. And, it's sort of like a catch-22. Like I go to the practices and I've been on the field. And sometimes I hear things that a mama should not hear. But at the same time, I don't want them to feel like they can't talk in front of me.
Yeah.
And so it's like I said, it's a catch-22. It's like, I want to fit in, but I'm like, oh my God, my ears are burning. If you're
Philip and Leo, but Philip and Leo are always G-rated, right? They don't ever get out of control.
Well, Philip is a pastor. And so,
nice.
I don't know if you knew that, but he probably wouldn't go R-rated at all, ever. And then Leo, he's just the sweetest guy. And he opens his house to a lot of the, when we do the podcast, and his wife, Lolis, she makes an incredible dinner every single time. So when we have guests that are there, they are treated to a full meal. Sometimes it's shrimp quesadillas, fajitas. I mean, you name it. And so we had a blast. We've connected really well. And like I said, I do refer to them as my podcast brothers because they're in there thick and thin, and they're educating me and encouraging Francesca. So, I mean, I give them all the praise because we really work well together, and I do love them.
Hey, hospitality in someone else's house proves who they are. And if they're making a meal, then good.
With
people.
Mexican food, come on.
I know. Boom.
Come on, let's get it.
That's really nice, RC.
Podcast over. Let's get it.
That's really nice, RC. I wish we had something like that at the Brahma Bullpen.
Are you want food? Is
Hoss,
that what
when are you making
I can bring you food. I'm a great cook. What do you like to eat?
My wife makes the best Mexican too. So
my wife is a great cook, but she doesn't make great Mexican food. But she makes large quantities of food, which is good for me.
She makes good crispy tacos.
Oh, she does make good crispy tacos. You're right.
Oh, okay.
Really
You're
good
right,
crispy
Hoss.
tacos.
You know what? Sorry, babe. If you're watching this, I apologize. You do make great crispy tacos. All right. She's not watching this. She doesn't care what I do. Okay, next thing. The Smokin Gunz Podcast, the National Arena Football League, the new season starting April 8th. That's awesome that they're coming back, right? Is that true, RC?
Yes.
April 8th, right?
Yeah. I'll go
the
back.
internet did lie to me.
No, it didn't lie. I'll just go back a little bit. So when we started with the Command Post podcast and that league fell through, wah, 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 right? Heartbreak, tear.
Cried.
Philip and Leo.
Tom Dundon, don't ever run into me, Tom Dundon. That's all I got to say.
You're out. We said we wanted to be relevant when the XFL would ever come to San Antonio. So that was our goal. So even though the Commanders went bye-bye, we tried to stay relevant. We covered some college football. And then during that time, someone had reached out to me from the River City Hornets. It was a smaller league. And they said, hey, can you do the podcast for us? It's River City, RC Woods. It worked well together, right?
Yeah.
I said, sure, I'll do that, right? So I was doing the podcast for them. And then I received a message from Warren. I don't know how Warren's always in the mix of everything, but he knows it. So he said, hey, there's this new league. It's Arena League. They want you to do the podcast, but they don't like that you're doing the podcast for River City. So there we go. Leo, Philip, and I went to a meeting with the Gunslingers, and it was like, oh my God, it was like so much tension. They're like, well, we really want to go with you, but RC's doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was not going to let that dream for Leo and Philip, to be popped just because I'm doing it, And I was like, no, I said, if that's that important to you, I will stop doing the River City Hornets. We will focus on the NAL. And again, our dream was to be able to be relevant enough to have enough fan base to cover the XFL. So really, this is a blessing for us because it started like strangers and here we are family and we're still together. So
first of all, I didn't even know there was a Hornets team in San Antonio. So that's wild. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to have to take that to Google later.
I don't know if they're still around, to be honest, but there's
I still want to know.
Yeah.
So then the follow-up question to that. So you say you're new to football. You say you're not a football expert, but let's just put this in a box. You've done at least 3 or 4 different football podcasts that we just covered here briefly, right?
True.
So who better to answer this next question?
All right.
What can the XFL learn from the AAF, from the NAL, and from the other league? I'm sorry that the Hornets were part of. I didn't catch the league name. But what does the XFL need to learn from them in San Antonio to be a better success, as in your opinion, as a professional sports podcaster, RC?
Let me fix my crown here.
Queen RC, let's get it.
I think the thing that they're lacking, right, and it's just my opinion, they have to start forming the connections between us, the fans in San Antonio, with the players. Like earlier, by this point, I would have already done 10 mom-to-mom interviews.
Wow.
And so we don't have that. And I love The Rock. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. I love Danny Garcia. I love that she's a female ownership. But sometimes I feel that they're promoting themselves a little bit more. And we really need to kind of target the audience. Like, we love The Rock, and we're gonna buy into it. We've already bought into the XFL. Help us buy into the Brahmas. Help support that. And this is just, I'm gonna give you some 411. So part of the
Breaking
Brahma
news.
Mamas, this is big news, big news. So part of the Brahma Mamas is that we want to encourage family interaction with during tailgating, right? Sometimes the kids get lost in tailgating and So my only request to, I'm going to say the media, and the XFL is there something like a coloring page that we could get for kids that we could pass out during tailgating? Simple enough, right? They just print a logo. 0.
Nada, huh?
Nada. You know what I'm saying? That is a missed opportunity. What would it take to print out a little Brahma logo so we could pass out to kids so they can get excited? If you can get the kids excited, if you can get the women excited, the men are already on board. You know what I'm saying? Let's make this interactive. Let's do this. And that's one thing that I feel like they're a little bit lacking in. They're doing a great job with promoting themselves, and I'm not saying they don't, but let's start making that connection, because every city has their own feel, right? San Antonio has their own feel, but they don't have some of the key people in place that know that. Like, for example, Fiesta's coming up. I said, hey, y'all need to get a medal. They're like, what? What's a medal? I go, y'all need to, see what you can do to get on the Riverwalk parade, the river parade. What river parade? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I did hear Hines Ward on Coach's episode from the XFL. So, you might not think they're listening, but they heard you, RC, because
did they?
Yes, because Hines Ward was talking to the other coaches in the South Division, and his exact words were, "When we win the championship, we're having a river parade."
Okay, then yes,
he said it. He said it. So for sure, he listened.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good to know.
So we already covered Brahma Mamas. You talked a little bit about the food drive. So before we get you out of here, tell me about the food drive. What are you doing with the Brahma Mamas? And what are URC going to be doing on game day? Hopefully at least 5 to 10 minutes of game day, you're coming by the Brahma bullpen to eat some. We're going to eat some barbecued Battle Hawk chicken. Right, it's called Battle Hawk chicken. We're gonna make it a little spicy, because some of those guys give us indigestion. That's
I believe it. I believe it. They're a little nauseating to me.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us about the food drive. Where can people bring food to, and then tell us what your plans are on game day.
Okay, so with the food drive, I'll start with that. So I connected with the San Antonio Food Bank, and they're going to have like those big barrels. 2 are going to be at tailgating, and 2 are going to be at the entrance of the Alamo Dome. So just bring your non-perishable items. All you have to do is dump it in there. once they're going to collect it and they're going to take it directly to the food bank. So all I'm asking is that everyone just bring a can, I don't know, a cereal, whatever, peanut butter, whatever you can. You know what I'm saying? Just one thing. We could do that as a community. The second thing that we're doing is that we wanted to promote children activities. So I'm going to have to come up with something or do something so I can pass out something for the kids. The third thing that we're doing is we're having a dance off. I had asked the Battlehawks if they were willing to do like a dance off. They shut me down.
Chickens. They're chickens, said, battle chickens.
You know? They said they didn't want to separate the men from the women. Oh my gosh, are you that insecure? Wow. So anyway, so I already came up with the dance routine. I don't know if you've seen it. So you saw it, right? Because you were there.
We posted it. We posted it here. Go, do some Brahma Bullpen search. We did an episode from the backyard. I believe it was called, right?
Yeah.
Backyard.
Brewster's backyard.
Brewster's backyard.
There you go.
Check the channel. We got, if you want to see Miss Brahma Mama herself doing the Brahma Mama dance, it's there, people. It's there.
It's there. And then this is, you can be the first one to talk about this. We're going to have a guacamole contest. Who has the best guacamole?
Wait.
I'm going to post it. And I'm going to pick like 3 people or 5 people. Haven't decided yet. And they'll have a little contest to have some nothing competitive. I don't want anyone to get mad. It's just very friendly, competitive, a guacamole cook-off.
That's awesome. And just so you know, we are looking at tailgating here. They did announce the parking lots 3 and 4 for tailgating. They are not allowing us to pay for tailgates yet, but I've been on the phone every day with the San Antonio Brahmas ticket rep. And that news should be coming here this week. So it's going to be the same lots that the Commanders tailgated in. But
I'm in lot B.
You already got it locked up? You already got it locked up? Mm-hmm. Dang. See, that's when you know you got royalty here, when they already got the lot locked up. You know what I'm saying? Haas, do you eat guacamole? Let me ask you, do you eat guacamole?
Yes.
You do?
You want to be on the contest? You want to be on the contest?
Can I be a judge?
Yeah, we would love it for you to be a judge.
We should be judges.
Hey, y'all are judges. You don't want to be a judge? You don't like guacamole?
I love guacamole, but only on one thing. I'm a picky eater. I'm going to let you in a little secret of the Brahma Bullpen here. I will eat guacamole on a fajita taco all day long. Okay. But I will not eat guacamole on a chip or by itself.
Oh, okay.
Well, I assume we would do the judging on a chip. Right?
No, sir.
Yeah, I think we're going to do it on a chip just so we can get all, because you do it on different meats and then you get different tastes. And because
now Bullpen's got me a little nervous because I'm a picky eater too, and he knows that's why he set me up with that.
Yeah, I won't tell everybody all about Haas down here, but he eats white rice with every meal. Okay, anyway, we're gonna move past that.
All right.
He does RC. I'm not making that up. All right. So last question.
Sure.
And feel free to hang around and throw anything out there you want, but I want to know, as a podcast and football expert, you are an expert at what we're doing here.
Thank you.
I want you to give some advice to the noobs, me and Haas down here. What do we need to do to continue talking XFL and Brahma football on our podcast? What do we need to do? Tell us. Be as mean as you want. I want to feel sad when you're done.
I want to be sad. What a point would that be? I don't want you to be sad.
I need to know what we need to do better. We need to know. Tell us what to do better.
Well, one thing is be for real. Don't try to fake the funk. You know what I mean? People can pick that up. They know right away that you're not really telling the truth and stuff.
Quit faking, Haas. She's talking to you, buddy.
Yeah.
I would say be more interactive. Make a connection with someone, or the fans. Like, what is it about you that you love and your passion? Because I guarantee you there's 10 other people who have that passion. So for me, I connect with the moms, right? Because we've all been with those. If you go back and listen to some of the mom-to-moms, there was one, and I don't know if I actually said that, but the mom's house was caught on fire. And she told me, please don't, I'm telling you, because she was like frazzled. She's like, but she didn't even tell her son who was playing because she didn't want him to get all worried. To distract him. That's a mom. You know what I mean? Like you can, so figure out what you're passionate about. And I guarantee you, there's going to be 10 people who feel exactly the same way, feel your passion, and they will connect with that. So I think that would be the best advice.
You ready, Haas? We're gonna run through a wall. You ready to run through a wall, Hoss?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
That'll be a pretty big wall.
Is she a coach or a podcaster? Let's get it. Let's get it.
And so I think that's really the only advice I would give you, and just be honest. Don't fake it and make that connection, because by trade, I'm a speech language pathologist. And so if anytime I hear something with a student with a disability, or a child, or even an adult with a disability, I already connect with them. And so one of the first segments that I talked about with the commanders was the safety that they were using in their helmets to help decrease the TBI, the traumatic brain injury. Mm-hmm. And so that meant a lot to me, and so that's something you can't fake, so find out what your passion is and make that connection.
Be real. Be real. And there's one thing that's true for everybody that's part of the Brahma bullpen. We're all about the success of the San Antonio Brahmas. Let's go.
Yes.
Horns forward. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a great season.
Real quick, before we're going further, I did find number 20.
Okay.
He's a defensive back. His name's Abray Booker Curran. And according to the XFL roster, he is still there with the Brahmas.
Awesome. And the reason I say that, I talked to the dad, and he's like, I already bought tickets for the games. Is that not a parent? You know what I'm saying?
That's legit.
That's love. That's love, right? Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, I'm already praying for this kid, and I have no idea what. All I knew was the number. That it was number 20. I didn't know what position. I didn't know anything. But just talking to that dad for those few seconds, I already felt like I had to cheer him on.
That's amazing. Well, we have officially adopted number 20.
All right.
As our first fan favorite of the Brahma bullpen. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I love that it's a defensive player too.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Give him some love. Doing the dirty work.
Let's get it. He's the first official member off the team of the Brahma bullpen.
I know this is a little bit off the cuff, but can my daughter come on and just say hi?
Absolutely. The master degree daughter?
Yes, the master degree daughter.
Oh, heck yeah. We would have
the one that's smarter than both of us?
Yeah.
There she is. There's my girl.
Welcome to the Brahma bullpen. She can't hear us because we're in headphones, right?
Oh, you can't hear us? No, she can't hear us.
No.
She's like
no.
She can't hear you, dummy.
Well, they're saying hello.
Oh, hi.
We're saying hi.
She says hi.
We also say congratulations for all of her hard work.
You.
Congratulations from the Brahma bullpen.
Yeah.
And she's definitely smarter than any of us.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
She just came to help me charge the laptop. I was like, I was texting, help.
I don't know of a better segue, RC. Please feel free to stay around so you can kick ideas off. If you got time, we're going to go into player highlights. And as we teased last week, we got my boy Hoss is going to talk about the quarterback situation for the Brahmas. We're going to talk about each player still on the roster, and then we're not going to let Hoss get out of here easy. He's not getting out of here until he predicts who the starter is going to be, and then if he gets it wrong, we're going to make fun of him later because that's what we do.
Or if he's wrong, let's make him eat a jalapeno.
Ooh, you down, Hoss? Jalapeno? If you're wrong,
I think so.
All right, let's get it.
I love it.
All right, that's awesome. All right, Hoss, it's all you. So let's start with we're going to start with Juwan Pass. Now, I've talked about before that I go to Texas A&M football games, season ticket holder. I got to see Juwan Pass playing Kyle Field, watch some highlights on him. This kid is big. This kid is fast, and he's got an arm, man. He can throw the ball. Talk to me about Juwan Pass, Hoss.
He's pretty interesting. He's at the best height, 6'4", 6'5". Coming out of high school, he was the 4-star recruit out of Columbus, Georgia. And I'm pretty sure he was, unfortunately, the most overrated coming out of high school. He was set on a pedestal going into Louisville, coming behind Teddy Bridgewater and Lamar Jackson, the Heisman Trophy winner. And going out of there, you know how it is whenever you're put on that pedestal. You have a lot on your plate.
Nobody can follow up Lamar Jackson, bro. Like,
it's hard.
Take it easy on my boy Juwan Pass. Come on.
It's hard to do. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
But he ended up being plagued with injuries there. He could never finish a full season to Louisville.
That's sad to hear.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't just him. You know, they had so many coach changes. We already talked. You know, Bobby Petrino ended up being fired in that.
Well, that was the volleyball player and the motorcycle, right? Hey, you lay off Bobby Petrino. He's the OC at Texas A&M now. And,
Gig'em.
Gig'em. We love you, Bobby. Let's go. All right, sorry about that.
But his best season there was in 2018, where he had 162 completions out of 300 attempts. His completion rating was 54%. He had 1,960 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions.
That's not good.
It's not good.
You got to protect the ball.
Yeah, and that was the season that he started there. But he ended up doing a transfer portal at 2021, where he went to Prairie View A&M, where I believe you saw him at Kyle Field, where he ended up having the best.
I mean, he didn't do that great that game. I mean,
what do you expect? He ended up with that year it being his best year. It ended up being his best year as far as everything. He made statistical improvements from the 2018 season to this 2021 season. So he had 205 completions. His passer rating went up 7% to 61% from 54. He had almost 700 yards more passing with 2,626 yards. He had 8 more touchdowns, which finishing with 16 for the season, and he had 12 interceptions. It's still not the best.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best for sure college career. But according to the XFL Hub News, Brahma's offensive coordinator Jamie Elizondo will coach Pass, who has a proven track record of developing quarterbacks. It could be a partnership that will help Pass become a prolific starter in the XFL or enhance his chances of reaching the NFL. But either way, the potential Pass has will make it easier for the coaching staff to build a tailor-made offense around him. Now, I don't think we will be building our offense around him.
Whoa! Don't bury the lead. That's for later.
Let me just ask you this. So in the beginning, the XFL was really pushing Russo and Pass, right? And all the pictures and all the promos. So do you know by any chance what happened with Russo? Did he go to another team? He just was cut, or what? He was
released, I believe, January 22nd. Don't quote me on that, but it was around that time they released him. But whenever we get into these other quarterbacks, no one really holds 4 QBs in the NFL, CFB, right? So,
and XFL's got a smaller roster than the NFL, right? They're playing 54-man roster. We're playing a 51-man roster, so it's going to be even harder to keep that extra QB. But as we saw with San Francisco 49ers, you might want to keep one. You know what I'm saying?
You never know.
You never know. Well, talk to me about the number 2, old Jack Cohen. What you got on Jack?
Now, this is the one that probably had the most success in the college feel of the game. He went to Wisconsin in 2017, didn't start until 2019 whenever he was a junior. He ended up holding the completion record actually for the Wisconsin Badgers. I know it's not that much. This isn't a quarterback school, so
don't put too much cloud into that.
Right, I know, right? It's not that great, but they're not a quarterback school.
That's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah. Wisconsin. Jesus.
His completions there that set the record was 236 completions. He had a completion percentage of almost 70%. He passed for 2,727 yards. He had 18 touchdowns that year with 5 interceptions.
Well, that's less than Pass.
Yeah, pretty good for sure. And then he ended up for the 2020 season. He came back to the Badgers, but before the season started in practice, he had a non-contact injury with his foot. He ended up having season-ending surgery.
Non-contact. That's the worst, dude. That's the worst.
You ain't got to tell me twice, bro. You ain't got to tell me twice. So he ended up entering the transfer portal whenever the Badgers got someone else. He ended up going to Notre Dame, which is kind of like a home sweet home for him, because before he was a football player, he was actually a really good lacrosse player. And he had committed actually to Notre Dame as a lacrosse player on the lacrosse scholarship. I think his dad's a Notre Dame fan as well. I don't know if he went to school there or what, but he ends up going there, and he ends up having an even better season with the Fighting Irish. where he finished the season with a record of 11-2. He had 250.
On the lacrosse team or the football team?
Stop it. With the football team.
I'm just checking. What was his shots on net? What was the shot on net stat? Give me that stat, Hoss, and see how good you are. Shot on net. No,
we have to find a whole different website for something like that.
Different website. All right.
Yeah. He had 253 completions sitting at 65.5 completion rating. He had 3,150 passing yards.
Whoa. Wow.
25
that's
touchdowns.
Hard to do.
25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
Dang. 25 to 7.
Yeah.
That's
at a good division, good school, arguably the best.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it.
They're first of all, they're not in a division. They're independent. And then also, they kind of sometimes they play a cream puff schedule. Let's be honest. They kind of cream puff their way trying to get in the playoff. But that's okay. Notre Dame plays USC every year. They always get a decent Big Ten school. So, yeah, I'll give you that they play good competition. So 3,000 yards and a 25 to 7 is good for that school. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I will say about the Notre Dame alumni, Scott Daly, who was the long snapper for the Commanders. He's he did play a little bit with the XFL, I think the first season or whatever. But now he's playing with the Lions. So I still follow a lot of the Commander players. Some are with the NFL, like Scott Daly, but some are right now with the XFL.
That's cool. Yeah.
Are you total side point? I know y'all going to talk XFL on y'all's podcast. Are y'all is there an episode where you guys are going to talk about old Commanders players? Maybe. I don't know.
I will say this. Okay. It goes back to, I don't know the history or what the deal is, but they said that they would not give podcasters social media credentials. And so without those credentials, it's going to even be harder for me to interview players from other teams. Like I have a better chance with the Brahmas, and if anyone's listening, but it's going to be harder because everyone's in Arlington. If I had to interview, I'd have to go all the way to Arlington to interview some of the other players. Now I do know Jerry Jones-Smith is playing for the Battlehawks. And I did talk to his mom, and we are going to have dinner when they come into town.
Oh, that's amazing. That's nice. There you go. That's going to be great. Well, we can't wait to hear that. All right, Hoss. Let's move it along so we don't be here all night. I bet RC's got so many stories that I don't even know to ask about. That's amazing. But what do you got for our third quarterback on the roster, Mr. Reed Sinnett?
Now, he had one great season, but he didn't play in the best division of football. He played in the PFL for the USD, which is the University of San Diego, where in his senior season in 2019,
that's not San Diego State, for everybody who's wondering. That is not San Diego State.
What did we call it earlier? Baby blue?
You were going to call it's not the red and black San Diego. It's the other color San Diego.
The other color.
Yeah, the other color. So, all right.
But he also, side point two, he also has really good size. All our quarterbacks, Juwan Pass 6'4", 6'5", Reed Sinnett 6'4", and Jack Cohen 6'3". They all have great size. So Reed Sinnett, his senior year, 2019, 251 completions with a completion percentage of 67. He had 3,538 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions.
Ooh, I don't like the 10 interceptions, but
32 to 10?
32 to 10.
You got to take a chance. 32 to 10, you got to. That's pretty. So he likes to push the ball. 3,500
passing yards is a lot.
That is a lot.
Over 3,000 is a lot. So that means
if you're passing that much, you are going to get the ball intercepted.
Yeah. So yeah. And it paid off because he had 32. So it's a good stat for sure. Mm-hmm. What were we going to say, Bullpen?
Give me passer rating. What's the passer? I need it.
168.8 was his passing efficiency, where he actually was finished.
For the season? For 168 for the season, not a game.
His rating for that season was 169.5. That season.
That's pretty efficient.
In his first year as a starter, he led the Toreros,
maybe,
in their 6th straight PFL championship and their 4th trip in a row to the FCS playoff, while breaking out of being one of the best quarterbacks in the FCS. He also finished top 5 in passing touchdowns, 4th in passing yards per game, and 4th in total offense. Finished 2nd in the USD record books in passing yards with 33,528.
Wow.
4th in completions, 252, and total offense of 3,702. 6th in completion percentage, 66.9, and passing efficiency at 168.8, and 9th in passing touchdowns. Now, the other interesting thing about Reed Sinnett was that he probably has the most NFL experience out of all the quarterbacks. He bounced between the active roster and practice squad plenty times with the Miami Dolphins, where he ended up playing some good preseason football. We'll have the producer stitch in a highlight of that somewhere over here of him throwing the game-winning touchdown in the preseason against the Bengals.
Sinnett under pressure, spins away from trouble. Pointing downfield, and he's got to let it fly to the end zone. Did he catch that for a touchdown? Chris Myrick did.
Then he went with the Philadelphia Eagles after the Dolphins waived him. He spent some time with them. Then he was released on September 7th, 2022 with the Eagles. And then he had a second stint with the Miami Dolphins. After that, they picked him up off waivers, and then the Dolphins released him on November 1st, 2022, and then he was assigned to the San Antonio Brahmas November 18th.
Wow.
Man,
I like him on paper. I like him on paper.
On paper, yeah, that's right. See, she's a pro.
Yeah.
Okay, Hoss, now we're going to put your feet to the fire.
Ooh.
We need a prediction, and if you're wrong, remember, you're going to have to eat a jalapeno.
Mm-hmm.
After the depth chart's released, if you're
seeds
wrong,
and all, seeds and all,
just straight up jalapeno it. Who's going to be our starter? Game 1, February 19th, when we take down the Battle Chickens.
Gonna be Reed Sinnett.
Okay,
and it's gonna be him because he has so much experience bouncing with the NFL teams. Obviously, they saw something they really liked on him. If you watch his preseason games, the dude knows how to throw the football. He knows where people are going to be lining up on defense. I mean, he spent 3-4 years in college in that division, and he balled out in his senior year. And that's not a coincidence. So I think Reed Sinnett is going to be the starter.
Well, awesome show. Thanks, RC, for being here.
What's your prediction?
I don't make predictions. I just kind of hear and I just do what Hoss. So Hoss tells me where to put my money and what predictions to make.
Okay.
And I just go with what he says, and then that's it. I'm just here because I talk a lot, and I don't know, maybe because I'm likable. I don't know, but we don't want to be here until tomorrow. I got 30 more questions for RC, but I'm going to start texting her on the side. If her husband sees this, I'm just asking football questions. Okay, I got a lot of things I need to know. But remember, everybody, check out the Smokin Gunz Podcast. Like, share, subscribe that. This is the Brahma Bullpen. Like, share, subscribe that. RC, on your podcast for the XFL, is there another podcast that you're doing? What are you sticking with?
I'm sticking with the Smokin Gunz. We thought about changing the name, but we already have such a great following from commanders to the gunslingers. So it's a melting pot. You know what I mean?
Before she goes,
go ahead. Well, I was going to say real quick, we got to make sure to throw out the San Antonio Facebook group for the Brahmas. Our new RC is a part of that. They put together 2 fan events already. So check out the fan group on Facebook. Make sure to follow them. That way everybody knows where the party's going down.
Oh, for
What do you got, Hoss? What do you got, Hoss?
I wanted to know what RC's prediction was on the QB start.
You did a very thorough job. I will say that. So kudos to you. Snaps to you. Whatever you want. Pat on the back. Thumbs up. But I'm going to go with your prediction too.
Oh, see, you're already turning into me, RC. You're just doing what he tells you.
No, I'm not at all.
On a limb
I said on paper. Now, before I heard the stats, I was going with pass, and this is just the mom and me because I like the last name, pass quarterback. Sure. I mean, it fit. It fit.
Well, and the other thing too is they Bullpen brought out that they're giving away a signed Jawan pass
That's
from the
true.
XFL
Yes.
giveaway, which is also
That's
something
true.
to look at. But if you look at all his stats,
He's
in my
working
opinion,
with Coach Elizondo one-on-one, according to the XFL News Hub. So shout out to Mark Perry and them
well,
guys
according
out there
to
doing
the
their thing.
XFL Hub at the start, Anthony Russo was going to be our
Hey, we
starter
don't
for the
point
most
out
part.
negative.
Okay, how about this to make it interesting? I'll go with pass, and if I lose, I'll eat a jalapeno. How about that?
Roll.
I think that's
Roll.
great. Yeah.
Let's get it. Let's get it. That's perfect.
I was trying to roll someone into eating a jalapeno if it wasn't going to be me.
It would be you. Awesome. Well, thank you very
Deal.
much, RC. Thank you, Haas.
Thank you for having me, and thank
love
you
the-
for what you're doing. You're doing a great job. We have to keep the XFL relevant. And so if we succeed, the team succeeds, the league succeeds. And so we have to look at it that way.
Well, thank you for legitimizing our little podcast, YouTube show, fan group, tailgate group. We're just trying to be part of the atmosphere. We're trying to be part of the San Antonio Brahmas success. So we thank you for legitimizing us by joining us tonight. Haas, thank you for everything you did. Next week, guess what? I'm so excited. The whole episode is going to be game preview. We got 2 weeks. Next episode, game preview. Let's get it. Go Brahmas. We're also going to follow up on Haas's Super Bowl bets. So we'll see if we made any money on the Super Bowl. Hopefully we did, because Haas needs to chip in on the tailgate spot. Can't be funding this whole group on myself. Also, we got to have a special guest. We're going to start doing some shorts at the tailgate. XFL Outsider. He liked, shared, and subscribed not only to our YouTube channel, but also to our Twitter account. We got a Twitter account. It's down there on the bottom screen. Y'all can see that there. XFL Outsider. He's coming down from St. Louis. He's going to join our tailgate, and we're going to get some friendly banter between us and the Battle Chickens. And then the last thing I'll tease for next week, we broke down each and every roster using player scores and composites provided by 24/7 Sports, adjust a little bit on our own based upon stats. We'll have game preview based upon analytics. So we're not going to just make stuff up out of thin air. We're going to give you star ratings. We're going to give you player scores. We're going to break down the roster a little bit more, and we're going to have a prediction for next week's game. I don't want to give it away, but we are a Brahma podcast, so the Battle Chickens might not do so well. With that, thanks for joining the Brahma Bullpen. We're going to end it the way we always end it. Horns forward. Let's go, baby. Go Brahmas.